Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frontline Football. I have just been informed. I think that this is a joke, but probably not. That Adam Gase just interviewed for the job of offensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this is probably a joke. I'm gonna check my phone just in case. Bleacher. Oh nope, that's true. I don't know why Seattle would do that because Jamal went away from New York to get away from Gase. So I don't know how that culture is going to be, but it'd be a fun soap opera if it happens. So welcome to Frontline Football, your one place for your news, rumors, updates, and highlights from across the NFL season. Now it is coming to a close this week, but this is part 2 of our doubleheader. So let's just get right into the news.
All right, Josh, you're going to be starting us out with the new Falcons GM.
Okay, well, let me just look up that story again. Because the Falcons have just hired a new GM. And they have just announced today that his name is Terry Fontenot. Okay, I got it right the second time. And from what our research team has done, he used to be in New Orleans, and he was one of the people who pushed to draft Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to hand it off to Zach for his take on the news.
I think it's good. I think you mentioned the Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, two of the best player, probably the best running back in the league right now, and the other one's a very solid defensive player. Now, there are some things I'm kind of worried about. The Saints sometimes messed up on some of their picks. They got pretty good with the picks in the first to second, maybe even third rounds. But when you get to those later picks, they kind of struggled. They didn't find these diamonds in the rough. But that's not what you're supposed to find in those last rounds. You're supposed to find people that are replaceable that you can just do. So, yeah. Jack, what about you?
This one is a bit of an unknown. GMs are kind of hard to judge. So I'm not sure. He seems like, on paper, he's an understudy of the current Saints GM, Mickey Loomis. He's a pretty solid drafter, had high praise for specifically Kamara and Lattimore in that draft class. He's been around a winning culture, and I'm thinking what's going on here is Atlanta. It's like, okay, this guy's been around a winning culture for a bit. Hopefully it rubs off on this kind of thing. And Saints, they don't do well with money, but if you can get an equivalent of the current Saints GM that's a little more better, or not a little more better, does a little better with balancing checks and making sure you don't get into a negative $100 million in cap space, then the Falcons could be in good shape. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. We'll see what he's about when he starts to sign. Is he about taking risk, building through the trenches? Does he want to get the star? It's all just up to preference and how he wants to build this team. But we'll just have to see how he executes it this offseason. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Same thing that you guys are saying is just what's his GM style going to be like? Because yes, he did come from New Orleans and help draft Kamara and Lattimore, but those can only get you so far. So really the big question is this guy kind of a build through the draft guy? And if they want to go into free agency, then let them go. Or is he going to take the Los Angeles Rams approach to this, which is buy everybody in free agency and have an amazing team and draft a couple players here and there? So we just got to see what his GM style is like to get to know more about him, because that's the thing with GMs. Unless they are established GMs in the business, you don't really know what you're getting with these. It's kind of basically the most random thing, because you could have the best GM ever, and you could also have a GM who just doesn't know what he's doing. Bill O'Brien. So, yeah.
All right, well, now we're going to go on to the Combine. The Combine has been canceled. This is really bad. I'll say my take first. This is really bad because some young stars actually show off their talent in the Combine, and scouts actually do watch them. Because some people in these like small colleges, like they're not as big as like LSU or Clemson. They're like Arizona State or just small schools that don't get mentioned. And these guys just go to the combine and they do really well in it, and then they actually move up their draft stock more. Now, instead, they are going to have pro days. Pro days sometimes work. It will work better for the stars that have already proved themselves in college that are probably going to be taken high, and then some people that are lower that go to some prestigious colleges, but it's not going to be the same as much as the combine. So this is going to be a weird draft, but I believe that this will work out somehow. Josh, what about you?
I think that this is very, very sad because one is these players, some of them make their name through the combine. These people from the Minnesota states, the Angelo states, North Dakota, all these different schools don't get the exposure that these big schools have and usually prove themselves at the combine. Also, another thing that we're going to be missing is the Rich Eisen 40-yard dash that he does every single year, which is a great thing that always goes for charities and everything. So this is a really sad thing. And also with the pro days is just like Zach said, it's for these established stars, and sometimes these small school stars really get forgotten out of the whole thing. And the thing with the combine is in-person drills are not going on. Virtually, I think that stuff is still going on, but they're just gonna have the pro days for in-person stuff. But even pro days, it's just for the big athletes, and sometimes these small schools can't really get to them. And the combines their one chance to raise their draft stock and get selected in these 7th-round picks and these late picks in the draft. So I'm gonna hand it off to Jack for his thoughts on the matter.
This really stinks because the combine, it's sort of like you guys said, not everyone's going to get like a pro day. And it's sort of that opportunity for these guys to raise their stocks in a way. Like sometimes you may have had a disappointing senior year in your college football career, and maybe you want to show off like some of your athletic skills, and you run a really fast 40 or do a good cone drill or jump, and maybe that influences your. And it's proven sometimes that will influence draft stock, and some of these guys aren't going to get the shot. They're just going to be going off of their college tape, and sometimes that may not be enough to put over the top. So this really sucks. You're going to miss out on some of the Adam Thielens of the world, where if they didn't have these kind of opportunities that these guys get, that they wouldn't be where they are today, which really stinks, but hopefully we're back to normal by next year.
All right, yeah, I agree with all of that. So, Jack, so what about the Steelers firing someone?
So the Steelers have announced they are relieving Randy Fichtner of his duties. I'll open up with my take here. Good. I'm going to be honest. There's a massive problem with the Steelers' offense. Like, it's concerning. They could not establish a run game to save their lives, and yet James Conner is only like 2 years removed from a Pro Bowl selection and a 1,000-yard season. They make a 40-year-old, not 40, not quite yet, late 30s old guy, Big Ben with no arm, throw 60 times a game. That's a recipe for failure. We know the Steelers' defense can play. We know that the Steelers have great receivers. And we know that they have a solid O-line. It's taken a step back in its age, but that doesn't make it bad. But you got to establish that running game at times, and he wasn't able to take advantage of that. Making a old quarterback throw that many times in the game is not the recipe to success, and we saw it completely fall apart in a way in Cleveland. So I think overall, it was time. I've heard Steelers fans talk trash about this guy for like the last 2 or 3 years now, so it was time for him to go. Time for them to hopefully move on. Maybe they get a new quarterback to be Ben's successor, new coordinator, make a good duo. We'll just have to see how the future plays out for the Steelers here from here. What are your thoughts, Zach?
This guy sucked. He actually, judging by the things I saw this season, no run game like you said. I think this year they have to get either Najee or Travis Etienne. I think they should go for Travis because he's better at making good runs, and he's kind of like Le'Veon Bell, but without character issues and wanting to focus on a rap career. So this is actually I think this is very good for the Steelers. Now, I want to see who they actually have as their offensive coordinator. If they have Adam Gase, then they should get Najee because running up the middle is his thing. If they get Travis and running up the middle is kind of be like the same thing with Le'Veon Bell in New York, it's not going to work out too well. But it matters who they're getting as their offensive coordinator. Najee and Travis played very well. Also with quarterback issues, Roethlisberger's I think he's 38 now. Barry turned 39, so he's getting to that 40. He's getting to the ages where you really start losing your arm strength and accuracy. So, passing every single play and not having anything to depend on is going to be very hard for them. So I think getting Sam Darnold over the offseason or some rookie QB in the late rounds, something like that would actually help him out a lot right now. So I know that they can get QB this year because this class is stacked with them. So I think that the best move right now is to get a good offensive coordinator, work either with Sam Darnold, rookie QB, and get a running back to work with them. Josh?
I just gotta say this. I think that this is just ripping a Band-Aid off. I think that it's putting a Band-Aid on a bigger wound. I think that the real problem here is the culture of the team. One thing that needs to be fired. I know that this is a very hot take, very controversial thing, but you need to fire Mike Tomlin. I'm sorry. The guy can't win. The guy can't close out a season. He's shown to have a toxic culture in Pittsburgh. He's spawned people like Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, Ben Roethlisberger. This player's coach is not good at his job. Yes, he did win a Super Bowl, but that was Super Bowl XL. That's not even a big thing anymore. So you won Super Bowl 40. Good job. Whoop-de-doo. What do you want, a trophy? The thing is, he can't win with these players. He's lost his edge. I'm sorry to say it. This culture will never win a Super Bowl with him still around. They're going to need a culture change. They're going to need new people in there to have a more authoritarian style because it's shown for many years with many different talents that this player-first style does not work with the NFL players. So I'm going to say you get a new head coach in there. This is one Band-Aid to a whole bigger thing that needs to be fixed with the organization before they can even win a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, Josh, you get to talk about Buffalo Bills and what's going on with them.
Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll is staying for the next year in Buffalo. So I think that this is a great move by him. He's raising his coaching stock this year because he wasn't even the best ranked candidate. That was Chiefs coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Excuse me. And I believe that this was a good decision by him to just help his case to be a head coach. So I'm going to hand it off to Jack for his take.
I think this is a good move on the part of Daboll. For one, he's going to become in the hottest head coaching name in the game next year. Because of his work with Josh Allen, he's been in New England, he went to Alabama. So this guy's got the winning culture, championship prestige. He's built himself up through this league and got better over time, eventually to earn this head coaching opportunity. Now he could be looking at, this year it didn't work out for him because a lot of the jobs that I think he was looking at already got taken. We know the Texans and the Eagles are the final two. I don't think the Texans even interviewed him, and they're leaning towards Bieniemy. And Eagles, I don't think anyone wants that job. It's a bit of a mess right now. So I think it's better for him to be the number one candidate for a year. And then you're looking at some teams, head coaches that may be on the hot seat this year. Vic Fangio, Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona arguably, and Matt Nagy of the Bears. So either one, he's going to be able to plug and play. He's going to have a lot of good, interesting places with QBs or solid offensive already in place. And it's better just to wait a year, get your stock up even more, especially if Josh Allen maybe even breaks through and wins an MVP next year. This is just for the better. You don't want to take the Philly job. Houston job's most likely be enemies to lose at this point. They didn't interview him. So just sit back, you're a hot candidate. There's no reason to go to Philly and maybe ruin your coaching career because of the madness going on in there. What are your thoughts, Jazz or Josh?
You want to do it? Take again, Jack.
Huh?
All right, all
Uh,
right. So,
like, yeah.
all right. So, the Eagles want Josh McDaniels. The Texans want Eric Bieniemy. So there's no good spots for him really to go. I think the best move is when Cliff Kingsbury gets fired next season, because I know he will if he doesn't make playoffs. I think if he leaves, and I think the best place to go would be the Arizona Cardinals. We already have Nuke Hopkins. We have Larry Fitzgerald maybe staying because he'll be 40 then. We have Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella. We have King and Drake. We have an amazing team that he can just run that whole offense and make that into an amazing team that actually could win a Super Bowl. And the defense is always going to just get better and better over time. So this team, my team is here to win now, and I think this is a very smart move to just wait and uh just see what your coaching options are for next season. Heck, maybe even the Steelers he could go to next season if Mike Tomlin does get fired. So there's a bunch of options that he could go next season. He'll be the highest coaching candidate on there. He'll be like Eric Bieniemy and Robert Slaw for this season. So, yeah. All right. So everyone did their take, right, Josh?
Mhm.
All right. So, how about the Falcons, Jack?
All right, the Falcons have hired former Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. I'll open up with my take here. I think this hire, it's not like amazing, but I'm not gonna call it horrible either. It's not like he's a bad. I haven't seen much of him other than Tennessee, but he's supposed to be a product. He's worked with Shanahan for a couple years, and he's just. I like him. He turned around Tannehill's career, arguably. Derrick Henry had career years under him when he struggled a little bit beforehand, and I think the biggest comp is expect a Matt LaFleur kind of system. I don't expect him to go into Atlanta like Saleh and Campbell are going into their teams and trying to actively change the culture and be like this big leader. But I expect him to be a very good offensive mind, and I think that what they're doing here is they know they're stuck with Ryan and Jones for a couple more years because their cap is too much to get rid of them. So this guy's going to be able to get the most out of them because we got to remember Shanahan, Falcons OC, MVP year for Matt Ryan. So I think they're trying to replicate that a bit, bring that in. Curious who they bring into the defense because I'm not really sure. The defense is not very good. So that will be another interesting hire. But overall, this is a solid hire, but I don't know if I see it working for a culture change, but I do see it improving the offense drastically. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I think this is a good hiring because he might be actually working with a rookie QB like Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is in this conversation because he's either going to get taken first or second. So um, this is actually really smart because he gets to work with a young QB and he also gets to work with Matt Ryan if the young QB doesn't work out. He also gets to work with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, maybe even Todd Gurley stays, and maybe he can revamp his career. I don't know, but this actually could work out for the Falcons. I mean, at least they're not choking leads anymore. They're done with Dan Quinn. They're going to go on to new, more exciting things. So I'm very happy about this move. I just need to see something happen with them. I mean, I think that there's a lot of potential, but I need to see the first game that they play. Josh?
I think that this is a good head coaching hire. While I will disagree that this probably will be a culture change for them, because from what I've seen from the Titans offense is they revamped Tannehill's career at 30 years old. I feel like if he brings that Tennessee system to the Atlanta Falcons and has Gurley have a career year, have Ryan have a career year, I think he could revamp this team and they could be playoffs like next year because the Titans just seem to do that to players whenever they bring them in, at least from what I've seen. So I think this is a good head coaching hire for, just a new system. and to get rid of the old and in with the new.
All right. So everyone did their take, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get to the final story of today. Jags hire Urban Meyer. This is a huge thing right now. I will hand this one off to Josh and see what his take is.
I think that this is a great move because while I am really skeptical about it because he is a college football head coach and those usually don't work out in the NFL, I feel like this will be a breath of fresh air for the people in Duval. So, while I do believe that Fields will be going first, it is probably confirmed right here. I do believe that he'll have a hard time these couple of years and it won't be something instant. Like a lot of Jacksonville's thinking that it will be because it takes a while for these college coaches to get into the NFL system and get their bearings here. So I'm going to hand it off to Zach for his take.
I like it. I mean, I need to see him play again, like all these head coaches. I need to see him play in the first game, probably preseason, maybe even regular season. I don't know yet. I think Fields is actually going to go first now since this move because why would Urban Meyer try to teach a guy like Trevor Lawrence a brand new system that he has to learn? Now, Trevor Lawrence will have to learn a new system anyway, but why wouldn't you just take Fields, the guy you've been working with for 3 years, maybe 4 years. No, 3 years. Maybe 2. I don't know. But he's been working with him for a long time. And why would you just say, I want Trevor Lawrence instead because you didn't do well in college? It's like, no, that's stupid. He got you to a natty. So taking Fields would be the smartest thing for them because he already knows the system. He already knows everything. And this is a great hiring from Jacksonville. It might have just messed him up on getting Trevor Lawrence, though. Just saying. Jack?
I think this is a good hire, but it's just going to take time to marinate because he's got to adjust to being from college to NFL. It's a different kind of thing, but I have faith that eventually Jacksonville's a super young team. They're going to develop in like a year or two. They'll be ready for like playoffs and maybe even Super Bowl. This will just take a little time. Don't expect them to be 12-4 this year and to dominate the league, AFC South chance #1 seed or anything, but do expect to see gradual improvement over time to a point where you guys are consistent contenders under Meyer. Just give him a little bit of time to learn the ways of the NFL. I have full faith he can do it. I mean, he's been to multiple places and he's changed the culture and he's helped a lot. And I don't think it's any different here. Give him time. He's not going to be amazing this year, but I expect a big year from him next year.
All right. Well, that doesn't... Well, Josh, did you do your take?
All right. Yeah, I did.
All right. Well, that does it for this video. So, make sure to, Josh.
If you like what you saw here, don't forget to hit that like button, punch that subscribe button. You guys are frozen on my screen. This is weird. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All good? Okay. So, Zach's frozen on my screen, but this is weird. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, hit that like button, and once you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, you will be a part of the Frontline Football fan base, and they are the smartest and nicest fans in the entire world because they watch Frontline Football for their content. So, I just want to have everybody have a great day, and this is our doubleheader. So, Jack, hit the plugs.
As always, don't forget to follow Instagram and Twitter, either in the description where the links will be, or you just type in where the Frontline Football live feed is, that into your Instagram or Twitter, and then you get to follow us, and that's cool, polls and stuff, and be ready for an interesting offseason about to play out. There's going to be a lot of quarterback moves, there's going to be a lot of free agents, drafting, and just be ready for the offseason, as we got a couple more weeks, 2 more weeks until the Super Bowl, and we'll see you guys back here next week.
See ya.
See ya.